What's up, YouTube? We have another video here. This one's a bit different of a video, but still kind of up my alley, sim racing, DIY, fix-it type stuff. So, what we have is one of the Amazon H-pattern shifters. I can't put that on because that's on there. Oh, let me take this off real quick. Put that in there. So that's essentially one of the Amazon H-pattern shifters that I bought. The problem with it was it came with this control board here, and the problem I was having was that this control board was not being recognized by Windows anymore. I plugged it in one day and it said device not recognized, and I plugged it into several other computers. Everything was basically saying device not recognized, so I disassembled the H-pattern and then pulled out the board and tested the board in isolation to make sure, to eliminate the two PCBs that are right there, in case there was, degradation in those boards, or they had short-circuited or whatever and it had fried that, or not necessarily fried it, but it was causing it not to be recognized. And so I just plugged that in by itself and it still wasn't recognized. So it basically, either the firmware was borked or it got fried, but for whatever reason Windows will not recognize this anymore. So started looking into options into how to fix this, and I could have possibly contacted the reseller through Amazon and see if they would do a warranty or see if they would sell me a board or whatever. But this more than likely came from China, and these are not very nice pieces. And so if they did sell me another board, the same thing probably would have happened again. And so I didn't really want to go that route. I could have worked on maybe fixing this, seeing if I could have reflashed this chip, but then I would need the firmware to put on there, or whatever, the software to put on here to tell it how to function as a joypad in Windows, and I didn't have that, so that reflashing it wasn't an option. So then I looked into other people doing DIY shifters to see what their electronics setup was and see if I could just convert this, because this is essentially all the electronics on here is just essentially 8 of these micro switches. So that's essentially all of your electronics, is just connecting 8 micro switches together and making them work. So I did some research and saw that people were getting these Leonardo, the Arduino Leonardos. These are the Pro Micro rip-off ones, but they're essentially, the computer reads them as Arduino Leonardos. So I bought 3 of these from this company here on Amazon. I want to say they were like $5 a piece. It was like 3 for $15. So I got 3 of those to replace this guy, and then so started disassembling this. Just show you the quick setup here. It's just an aluminum body casing. It's in 2 pieces, and that's just the casing over it. The mechanism itself just has the base plate with 2 rods and then springs on it that allow this thing to actuate side to side, and so that the spring tensioner will do that. And then you've got these 2 set of arms here with rollers on them, with bearings on them, that will essentially allow you to shift it back and forward, and then it snaps in and out because it has these springs here that bring these back under tension. So pretty simple setup, but very effective and works great. Also, this is all metal and fairly robust, and so I didn't want to just throw it out, and so that's why I'm like, I have to fix this. So bought 3 of these and then started attaching it. Coco needs to say hi. Coco base. Yeah, let me get up there. Okay, good job. Okay, so back to this. needed to find a way to attach the Pro Micro to the board here. I wanted to kind of use the same mounting setup. And if you look down in here, you can see this little black plastic block here. There's supposed to be another one on this side here. This guy is supposed to be in there. But again, it's cheap Chinese stuff. So this, after flexing it, essentially it was standing up like that. And after flexing it back and forward a couple times, it just snapped off. So since that happened, I had to grab the posts and then solder them directly onto the PCB right there, and then solder it onto here. So this isn't removable like it used to be, because that's now soldered on. These bottom pieces are soldered on, and then of course the top pieces are soldered on for the connection. So that kind of sucked, but I got it to work, and that's all that really matters. The next big piece was tracing, basically finding out which one of these micro switches would basically go to which one of these two sets of pins. So there's two sets of 6 pins on each side. Only 5 pins are used, so 4 pins per set for the signal to the micro switches, and then 4 up here. And then there's a ground on either side that runs through. You can use either one of them. I'm just using this one here, and then that's soldered onto the Pro Micro on its ground connector. At first I had to do a lot of contemplating. Hold on, let me get this set up. I had to do a lot of contemplating because I thought that these 4 pins over here, the ones that are on 16, 14, 15 and A0, I thought I was going to have to route those back over to 2, 3, 4, and 5, because that's everybody all of the software in Arduino I saw was basically showing all of that as pins. So I did a bunch of research to find out if I could use 16, 14, 15, and A0 as actual buttons, because A0 is normally where you would plug in the potentiometer. But I found that you can. I found someone that had a unique Arduino IDE program with the library, the joystick library, and also a button, RB something button library. So I downloaded that setup. The problem was it's all in Portuguese, so I had to do a lot of converting to figure out what everything meant. But essentially, show you here. Here's a little sneak peek of actually this is the new setup outside. I'll do another video kind of showing off how I did all this stuff set up. But you can see I had to do a lot of translation between it because the program I used is in Portuguese. But I got all that figured out that I could remap the buttons, and I could use those inputs as button inputs, and so that way I didn't have to actually reroute the pins over to this side. I could just pass them through here. Another interesting thing is the 4 pins are all the way back here. They're at 9876, but on this side it doesn't use the back pin. That's a dead pin where 10 is. That's a dead pin. And then pin 5 would be underneath this, is the dead pin here, and then pin 6 would be where the ground is. So that's why I had to reroute that out the side and then solder it onto the ground there. So that was a ton of research to be able to do that. But if you watch my video, if you watch this, then you essentially know that you can use, I think you can use pretty much anything as a button on here, any interface as a button, because I did see they were using pin 0 and 1 as buttons as well. So I think with these you can use pretty much everything as a button. I mean, obviously other people would know a lot better than I do, but I got this all tested. I got it uploaded to the Arduino and then made sure each one of the micro switches would work before soldering on the top to make sure that I didn't have to reroute anything. And then all I had to do inside of the Arduino software was basically designate where I wanted the buttons to go. So you can see button 1, which would be M1, is on pin 6. Let me see. Oh, hold on a second. Let me see if I can stabilize this better. Okay. Sorry, it's moving around a lot, but yeah. So button 1, I'm out to pin 6. Button 2 is on A0, which is the potentiometer. Usually. Button 3 is pin 7. Button 4 is pin 15. Button 5 is pin 8. Button 6 is pin 16. Button 7 is pin 9, and button 8 is pin 14. And then I don't use, the other ones are mapped, but I don't use those last 3 buttons, which would be pin 0, pin 1, and pin 10. So that is essentially how that works. And then let me show you. We'll go over here, grab this. So we got this guy set up there, and then let me just my micro USB. Get this aligned. Kind of hard to do with one hand, so I can't keep you in frame and plug this in. Oh. Get in there. Yeah, that's the right way. There we go. Okay, let's plug it inside. It took forever. All right. I don't know if I have the control panel set up, so we'll just open the control panel. All right. Normally, if you click on devices and printers from here, it's going to open up settings. Oh. It did a bunch of crazy shit. Go away. I don't want that. Go back. I don't know why you opened up that. So normally you would open up settings. We don't want that. We want the old devices and printers panel. So in order to get that, you have to hit click up there and then hit backslash, and then you would type in devices and printers, but I already have it selected there. So then it gives us the old devices and printers page, which is awesome. And then we have the Arduino Leonardo right here. So we go to game controllers, move that over here, and then Leonardo properties, and then boom, that'll bring up that. So now, if I hit the micro switches, it's kind of hard to do. Hold on. Hit the micro switch. 1 lights up, 3 lights up, 5 lights up, 7 lights up, and now the back. 2. Is that 4, 6, 8? Hopefully that's coming through. I can't see it on my screen very well, but hopefully that's coming through. But that is all of the buttons lighting up. So that is essentially how you can fix these Amazon shifters, because again, it's all aluminum, it's all metal, it's decent construction. It's just all of the electronics are kind of crap. And actually, like the micro switches seem like they're okay. I mean, we'll just kind of tell how long it takes for them to wear out. But even if it does, I think I can replace these pretty easily. But even if the micro switches wear out, these PCBs, I mean, it's kind of hard to mess up a PCB, and these look like older style ones. I don't know, it's thick, I can't really tell the difference, but anyway, the PCB should be good, not passing a ton of current or anything through there. So essentially, if something happens to this microcontroller, this Arduino Leonardo, then I can always just desolder it and put on one of the other 3 I have. But that is how you can save these save these shifters so that way you don't have to just throw them out and it'd be a huge waste of like, I don't know, like 70, 80 bucks, something like that. So it was 15 bucks to completely fix it, and it's just, you know, if you just want to buy one at a time, you could, I'm sure you can get them for like $6 or whatever. So $6 to be able to fix it, and now that I have the certainty of knowing that it's an Arduino, this is more than likely not going to just blow up just from me plugging and unplugging it from the computer. And again, it's I don't have to worry about this cable or anything, because all this is going to be seated inside of the case. Like, there's not going to be any stress on any of this stuff, and there wasn't previously. That's how I know, like, none of the solder points broke or anything like that. It literally just fried the chip and lost its firmware. I'm not entirely sure what happened to it, but I know that Windows won't recognize it. And now I have one that is running on Arduino software that I can customize and fix. I can tell it whatever I want. I can change buttons around. I can do whatever I want with this now because I know how to program it. And I think that's pretty cool. So if you guys are interested in learning more about this, I did have to do a fair amount of research to find all the stuff that I found. You know, I got basic wiring diagrams, and then I found one joystick library, but this guy didn't show how he was actually programming it, so I kind of abandoned that. And then I found a tutorial on xsimulator.net, which is awesome. This is the one where I actually this is the one where the video is in Portuguese. This is the actual video here, but he's got all the downloads for it. So I think you download these files, which is the 3D files, but inside of there it has a text file with a link to be able to download the Arduino, or I think it actually might be this link right here. So if you just download that, that'll give you the Arduino file with all of the libraries and everything included, which is fantastic. And you need those libraries because you're calling on the RBD button library. And so you'll need that, and then you'll need this specific joystick library. So I just used this code because it had all the buttons I needed, and I understood it enough to be able to modify it to how I needed to. And yeah, it looks good here. So yeah, this is the dude's channel, and then that's his video. That's his post on xsimulator.net, his tutorial. So much appreciated. Thank you very much for that. You know, got to do a little bit of work of translating to Portuguese, unless you understand Portuguese, but well worth it to be able to have this back up and running again. So I've rambled on for enough. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.